Okay. Sorry for pausing in the middle of a quest chain like that. I usually don't like to do that, but we were 10 minutes into my lunch break, so... So having saved the woman from the trolls... By the way, speaking of... Hang on, real quick. How's that for a skybox? Oh, yeah. Stoke that in. Oh, look at that amazing skybox, Shadow Machine. It is true joy. Well, yeah, I figured, Five. That's how seasons work. Ironically. Yeah, we can literally see the pixels up there. It's great. Thank you for being part of the show. As always, Shadow Machine. I'll put that towards Shantae Advance, Pokemon Violet, and Simpsons and Run. Oh my god, it's awful. Alright, so.
Hello.
Excellent work. One more threat we can worry a little bit less about. We can continue on the offensive while they are on guard.
Goddess watch over you. Good luck, friend.
Alandarian is dead, then. That saddens me greatly, but it's not entirely unexpected. I expect no mercy from these savages, and I will show them none.
Farewell. Goddess watch over you. Del Nadris.
Some sort of shield, you say? We might have a way around that. Balthul had an idea for breaking whatever protective enchantments their shaman had, so it might work on this, too. Thank you for saving Ainasha and bringing this information. It may well be the difference in our upcoming battle.
Be careful.
Striking at the head of the beast doesn't work if there's another head to replace it. Before we can kill their leader, we need to kill the sub-leaders that may try to step up. Right now, they are not well defended, and you should be able to best them without much support. Here, take this Dryad Spear and hunt them down. The poison on its tip should slow them. Yeah, that's what Dryad Spears do.
Watch over you.
I've already been working on something for breaking down their wards. With a focus based on their power and a bit of druidic magic, we should be able to breach their shields. Find their shaman to the east and southeast. Recover their amulets. I'll prepare them and imbue an arrow you can use for the attack.
Goodbye. Ishnu Del Diab.
Before you rejoin the battle, something urgent has come to my attention. My scouts report that the Forsaken are scouring the ruined tower of Athalax to our south. Prior to the assault, the Bleak Tower hoisted a fanatical arm of the Shadow Council, commanded by the fallen highborn, Athricus Narasan. Narasan is long dead, back in vanilla, but if any of his work survives, we can't allow it out of our sight. Retrieve his research, and kill the Forsaken commander plundering the ruins.
Del Nadris.
Yeah, back in vanilla, there was actually an interesting, not actually story arc going through a huge number of zones about how there was like all sorts of different evil cults just all over the place. It turns out, spoiler warning, all the evil cults were actually the same cult. I know that doesn't sound like much from modern perspective, but like that was the big reveal, is that they were all actually the same cult. When does Season 2 start? Do we know yet? So, next Tuesday is what I'm hearing. I do like the Night Elf Crow light form. Once again, notice how the Forsaken are just straight up using Noxorama's music now. Like, we get it, game. They're the bad guys. No, Undermine and such is like February. I actually specifically meant Season 2. Hang on a sec. 11:07. Here we go. Interesting. Sorry, I was looking over the patch notes for 11.07. So each season the gear goes up a notch, and like which mythic dungeons you have access to changes, and like the vaults get an overhaul. Basically, all the gear moves forward another step. It's kind of part of the built-in default catch-up mechanic that exists in the game. To explain that a little bit weirdly, if you started playing the game and then played every patch, you know, you'd be at like this amount of gear right here. But if you start out brand new and just join in the middle of the expansion, you're over. First, now I'm not in combat. Hang on, let me get back in combat so I can bring up my visual reference point again here. There we go. Okay, so you're like over here, right? But then when you do the stuff, all that stuff is still over here, so you get catch up very quickly to the level of gear which you're currently at. Make sense? They did that a little bit in Dragonflight. They've been doing it a lot in War Within. It's been pretty good. I said search the bodies before you eat them. Do we have to? Oh, wow. Oh, you heard. Okay, I can work with that. Off the cooldowns here. Okay. You realize my dots are still on you even if you're vanished, right? What do you mean? Ugh. Yeah, sorry, I'm a boomkin, so peace. That would probably suck a lot, Trihexia, give or take. Let's see, so we've got Siren Isle. There's going to be story stuff, obviously. Don't you dare step behind those pillars. That is hysterical. That's actually a thing that she says. New currency, Flame Blessed Iron. Available for mounts, pets, gear, and transmog, as well as upgrades to a new ring, Circe's Circlet, which can be found by players. Flame Blessed Iron is also used to spawn event bosses on the island. Interesting. Some spark defender lasers. There's apparently an electric storm crow we could deal with. That's kind of weird. Where is... Nope, Where? There it is. There we go. Get me out of here. Humans and Kultirans gain Arathi customization. Nobody cares. Do I like the Sopranos? Nope. Racial updates. I should read these, see what they're doing with them.
Greetings.
Narison is no longer our concern, but if his life's work should fall to our enemies, centuries of dark wisdom could be brought down on our heads. How goes the hunt?
Asha
Let's see what we got here. Ihaloon. His notes are scrawled in half a dozen languages. What is this, blood? This archive makes my flesh seethe, but at least it's secure. It'll take some time to decipher the notes. Oh, your reward? Yeah, here. Nice work. Get back to the fight.
Goodbye.
That's a little sus, but okay. Hey, random.
How may I help?
Ishno del Diab. Farewell.
Their forces are weakened, their supplies destroyed, their sub-leaders dead. Time to take the fight directly home and to their leader. Let's try and zoom in here. I'm admittedly still in the dark as to what spurred their sudden aggression, but perhaps we'll find some answers on their doorstep. Take this arrow that Balthul prepared and report to Chandria Moonfall.
Del Nadris.
Oh, and secure one of our Night Striders. Okay. Can I have a rider, please?
What brings you here? Be careful.
3 random. It should say in the thing. Does it not say in the thing? I got asked that recently too, and it's like it should say. Very confused. Let's see. So Draenei, Gift of the Gnarl cooldowns reduced. High Mountain Terran tenacity increased. Lightforged Draenei judgment increased. Magheart Orc, Nightborn, Boydo, Fulpera, Oregon. This is all like allied race stuff that's getting buffed. That's interesting. Cross-faction groups can now queue for dungeons. Dungeons will require a fully pre-made group, and party members who leave will not be replaced. So, baby steps. But it is still another baby step. So we no longer have to physically run there if we have a prefab. The next step would be allowing us to actually queue, as in, no, really queue, with cross-faction. Level 3, stars and time, Xenoblade 3, and thank you, random, as always. Cross-faction groups can now queue for unrated PvP. Woo!
Alone be with
Come
you.
to join the offensive. If you're looking for Sandria, she's leading the attack on the Shatterspear leader at the cave at the back of the Vale. You can meet her there. While you're here, though, we could use your help with routing the rest of their tribe. Go ahead and take the company of one of the vengeful protectors and see to it that every last building is destroyed and every troll is killed. We can't have them coming back for revenge when we're less prepared, can we?
Till next we meet.
And don't worry about the trolls underfoot while you're up there. They'll be trampled into the ground by the ancient strides. We're just genociding these people, aren't we? Okay. Stompy, stompy. This is thing that's happening. Notice this is like the Wrath vehicle quests, except actually good. Notice we only need 30 things instead of 150, and we actually have proper AoE range on our things, and less cooldowns, and no annoying mana mechanic. I believe you're correct, Asmiristar. Because the Shatterspear and lore have been here for a while. But, like, in gameplay, they've never been relevant. The following icons have been updated with higher resolution. Local stories, player arrow, and quest type. Interesting.
I am honored.
Greetings. Did you bring the arrow?
Farewell.
Good to meet you. Word has been sent to me of the efforts you made to aid us against the trolls, and I must admit I'm a bit impressed. The final battle's upon us now, but I hope you're prepared.
Good luck, friend.
I would be, but I gotta go turn in the quest really quick. Hang on a sec.
Can I assist you?
You performed excellently. We're fortunate to have you with us. I haven't received word yet about their leader. Yeah, I'll go deal with that.
Light your path.
Ishnu Allah.
Their leader and his guard are before us. My sentinels are ready to take care of his guard. We only awaited this arrow to seal his fate. Let me know when you're prepared. As soon as we engage, I will shatter his shield. We will assault him together. The days of peace with the Shatterspear have passed. And so the Shatterspear must pass as well.
Del Nadris. How may I help?
We could have been at peace. You decided to attack us unprovoked and unwarned. So, now you're dead. Sorry. The letter from Garrosh Hellscreams makes clear makes clear suspicions that were raised during the offensive on the Shatterspear. The presence of Forsaken and Horde supplies and enforcers were only the start. Garrosh himself contacted the Shatterspear to spur their offensive towards Lordanel, and it seems clear he intended to push south as well.
Hello.
We owe you a great debt for all that you've done to see this battle through. Not often can we claim victories so decisively, but it seems there's far more to this plot than just the Shatterspear. If you haven't already checked his body, make sure you do so before you leave.
Goddess watch over you.
Yeah, I got this, thanks. Hey, make sure to go get the quest item. It's not something you hear very often, but here we are. Oh, I did consider it, Dantelis. Obviously, I suppose. The problem is I'm trying to accomplish multiple objectives at once. And I wanted a druid on the Alliance. Why does that make you sad, Pillars? No. I mean, we get that a lot, pretty much every LGA. Worst, such and such. Such and such. Best, such and such. Same, such and such.
I am honored.
You're back! Right, now you gotta be in the Yura pose up here. I heard the battle went well.
Farewell.
Well, this is disturbing news indeed. I will start dispatching messengers to Ashenville immediately and see if we can get some reinforcements prepared for them. I can't thank you enough for the help you've lent us in these trying times. Such heroic deeds deserve reward. Here, take some gear. I do like gear.
Be careful.
Oop, bunch of quests just popped up. Oop.
I am honored.
I just want to offer my sincerest thanks for all that you've done for us. In my grief, I'm afraid I didn't extend the gratitude the way you truly deserve. We may not have made it here without you, but know you always have friends here. You needn't worry about my loneliness. Grimclaw has taken to keeping me company. I have to say, he's a more comforting companion than I would have expected. That's actually really kind of cool.
Be careful.
In case you're missing that, that's the guy whose wife died, and that's the bear whose partner died. And the two of them have decided to take care of each other. That's kind of legit, and I like to see those kind of consequences, too.
Ishnu Allah.
Is this
Good
it?
luck, friend.
Yes, it is. Okay, cool. It's so hard to play up here. I don't know how you do this.
What brings you here?
A group of Twilight Hammer cultists have set up camp southwest of here. They're preparing an army of water elementals to use against Lordanel. Their leader, the high cultist Azarin, has pacts with the dark old gods that grant his sect power over the elements. Go deal with them before it's too late. The cataclysm has left the elemental spirits in disarray. It's only a matter of time until they have enough to overcome our defenses.
Farewell. Good luck,
We're not
friend.
fully aware of the intentions of the Twilight Hammer cults. We fear an attack on Lordanel, but their motives might go beyond that. I need you to go to the Twilight Encampment and get your hand on their plans. Please hurry.
Goddess
We
watch
might not
over
have
you.
time. I mean, it's not so much distasteful at that point, is it, Blursus? No? The whole point of coffee is that you recognize quality, even if it's not for you personally. I guess I get your point, and I do understand. It's always nice to have someone to share a sushi game with, right? Or show, or whatever. Either way, FF16 is total garbage! Oh, sorry, what? I got a little internet in my ears there for a second. Apparently, the group manager pane is getting some updates, visual updates. I wonder if we're going to give even more positives to that. That would be funny. By default, in-game camera has been adjusted so it's less likely to jump when environmental objects are between the player and the camera. Oh, hey! There's a minor change that I know Pax will like. Mousing over Delver's journey will now display much more how much progress has been made towards the next reward and towards completing the track. Upon reaching a focused destination in the world, focus state will clear and a message will display in the middle of the screen confirming destination reached. That's nice, too. Sorry, I'm sharing that little detail there. With Pax. I mean, that's pretty normal. I was glancing through some previous patches, too. And it's funny how much of the little patches tend to contain the quality of life changes, interface changes, HUD changes. You really get the idea that they just kind of bake all that stuff into those little patches. And that makes sense. It's easier to test when you don't have to worry about all the other crap you're testing, too, right? Like, here's a new zone, and raid, and quests, and rep. Oh, and also we did this to the interface. It doesn't work, but we didn't notice that because we were busy. I mean, I shouldn't be too lenient on that, after all. They really do need to be responsible for their own QA team. But I can still understand the motive. Oh, dude, Ben Starr was the star. I can't make a pun if Evo's on here. He did a great job with that role. Yeah. Yeah. What was the Selfie patch? Which patch was that? That was 6.1, wasn't it? I think. God, I'm not even sure. Does anybody know or can look up? When was the Selfie patch? Why, Ross? It's only an amazing tool of awesome. Yeah, no, it's Warlords. I just don't remember if it's 6.1 or 6.012, 6.2, 6.23. There weren't a lot of patches in Warlords. Hang on, Ross. Just for you. Let me find the darn thing. It was 6.1. So everyone complains about 6.1 as it was the Selfie patch. Now, the problem was 6.1 was actually a really, really solid patch. You're probably thinking, why is that a problem? Well, because it had almost no new content. WoW, for the longest time, has reserved, I guess that's the tens? The second digit of the decimals for content patches. So when you get a X.1 patch, you expect content. There was no new content to speak of in 6.1. It was just, here's a thing to go get the selfie camera. And I know that sounds like a weird thing to complain about, but that is, I think, one of the biggest problems with that particular patch, is because let's just glance at this, okay? Let's see what they did in 6.1. So let's see. That was when the Blood Elves got their character overhaul. That was in the Heirloom tab, became a Collections tab. It was a huge quality of life feature. When my sister showed up, that's one of the best features of patch 6.1. What? That's when I got attacked by a pink shark out of nowhere. Wasn't ready for that. Fortunately, we're not going to get attacked by the other sharks, because that would just be terrible. Oh my god. You're not even a shark. You're just a rocket ship.
It's a rocket shark.
Okay, you're a rocket shark. I'm sorry. Oh god. I feel like I'm being bombarded slightly. I'm not sure why I think that way, but it does feel like something that's happening. No! Look where it landed. Ah! I gotta defend the water again. Hi. Is this just what's... that one felt like it fell off. Oh, no, 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 no! Oh, I heard that one. No, 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 don't throw blue. Don't throw blue! Hi, Blue. Are you happy now? Okay. No, no, no! You have to take care of her. That's why she's down here, remember?
She's down here because the children were in a phase that they wanted
Twice.
to color everything.
Twice.
Uh-huh, it's fine. They don't matter.
That's actually her Mew. I know, I got her that Mew. It's a custom order just for her. And I think one was Cheetos or something like that, and the other one was like markers or crayons or something. And so she had to be cleaned thoroughly, so I brought Mew down here temporarily to save her. Oh shoot, I'm in combat. Hang on. This is now a challenge run. Anyways. So, the problem with 6.1 was everyone was expecting it to be a content patch, and it wasn't. But let's look at what actually was in 6.1. So, heirlooms became a collection tab. In other words, all of a sudden, heirlooms were this. Like, this is when this was out of the game. To be clear, that was a really, really good feature. A great quality of life change, and something that really made leveling alts even better than it already was. They also made a whole lot of different other things for heirlooms and made it easier to get heirlooms, and they added alternate methods to get heirlooms. It was a big heirloom overhaul. Cool. They added a few new things to the garrison, which, honestly, I'm just going to glance over most of this. But they also completely overdid the interface for the garrison missions. So that was a big quality of life patch, too. Then they changed it so that a whole lot of things about how toys worked with each other. Whoops, that's the wrong button. Here we go. All these, the way the toys work with each other was fixed, for lack of a better way to put it. And that feels like such a minor thing, but the truth is this was an extremely necessary tech debt thing, because there were dozens and dozens of, well, no, hundreds of toys in the game, and they didn't interact well with each other, and it was causing issues. So that had to be fixed. So they did that. This is when they made it so that the starter editions of the game could interact better with the world. This is when they changed the graphics options to allow for different anti-aliasing, lighting, ambient occlusion, and particle density options. This is when they changed the itemization on certain stat types to be the standards that they are nowadays. There was a huge amount of class changes, which I'm just going to gloss over. Yeah?
I came down here to check to see if something had arrived inside the Christmas boxes
Well,
that I didn't see when I went through them. There wasn't a Christmas present. I found it.
congrats.
I did not take it upstairs with me.
Well, obviously, it's not supposed to go upstairs. It's supposed to stay in the Christmas area. This is just logical. They changed almost every flight path in the game. This is when they did the major update to make flight paths make more sense and be more fluid. Some of you probably remember that one. They changed where mailboxes were. They changed where some of the NPCs were. This is also when they did the massive quality of life update to personal loot, which my sister probably doesn't even remember. She probably wasn't raiding during Warlords.
It wasn't raiding during Warlords.
Which makes sense. Then there's a bunch of PvP stuff. I'm just going to glass over that. But there was a lot of PvP stuff and some crafting stuff and a whole lot of specific item stuff. Tons of toys were turned in, items were turned into toys. This is when they added colorblind options. This is when they added the death recap. You know, when we die, we can see a recap. That was 6.1. They changed how Group Finder works. They changed how categories work on the currency tab. They changed how the banner notifications work in general, so that's a nice update to the interface. Loot eligibility was changed, pop-up notability was changed, and a whole lot of bug fixes. That's a fairly chunky patch. It was a very useful, very helpful, and very worthwhile patch, but all anyone remembers is the selfie camera, which you notice I didn't even mention. And that's because the selfie camera is the dumbest, simplest, stupidest thing that was added to that, but it's probably one of the only new things that players could do that they can actually see. Nobody cares that you improved the plumbing. Nobody cares that you fixed the outlets that were fritzing out every now and again. Nobody cares about the fact that you finally cleaned out the cellar. What they care about is what's for dinner. And that's why the selfie patch has been so maligned for literal years, is because of the fact that it was a tech debt patch. And the fact that Warlords had very, 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 very little content in terms of patches. In fact, Warlords had exactly one new zone added, which had one new raid and one new quest chain. And a really, really, really terrible grind. That's it. Now, that's a valid complaint. I'm not trying to say it isn't. But you see my perspective on all this now. Excuse me.
How may I help?
You've done well. The Twilight Hammer is a dangerous cult. It would be foolish to underestimate the danger that they represent.
Del Nadris.
Have you obtained any plans yet?
Be careful.
Excellent job. Now give me a moment to look at these
Good luck,
plans.
friend.
By alone. It appears that many of those we feared dead from the attack of the Aberdeen have taken refuge in a camp outside of the ruins. The cultists are planning to make work of them. Quick, go
Farewell.
save them. You got it. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Pika. Yeah, I know, it's Miristar. So, and yeah, like I said, the weirdness there was the fact that it was called 6.1. What it really was like 6.05 or 6.07 or something like that. Just like the patch we're getting next week. In fact, the thing that made me think about this is the upcoming patch literally has more content than 6.1 had. Go figure. So Trihexia asks, what is tech debt? Okay. Let me try to come up with a specific example. Let's say I decide to make a thing that renders fire. And the way it renders fire is every single iteration of fire draws on a new unique ID code for an object, and then transplants that object here and renders it as an individual thing. That's fine. It was a solution that worked for the time. But as we move on and as we develop the engine and things get better and better and better, we finally figure out a way to maybe do duplicate texture usage. So like, for example, this fire and like one over there and one over there could actually be the exact same image, and therefore it's more optimized, right? So it's actually taking less resources to do the same flame. But we don't do that. They're all still using the old system because that would take time and effort and work to go through and fix up all the old little crap that, I mean, isn't really a big deal. That's tech debt. It actually, I call it tech debt because that's the official, formal, professional term for it. But it applies to a lot of things. How many of you have ever put off scrubbing the bottom of the shower? Or cleaning out the attic? Or fixing the wiring? Or making it so that the door on the handle actually stops squeaking so much whenever you open it? Or whatever. That's tech debt. It's something that you just kind of put off because it's low priority. And it is. But it's also the kind of thing that does build up over time. My sister knows I don't usually call this tech debt in real life. I usually call this low priority and high priority. Anything that's low priority is low priority for a reason. The rule, however, is every now and again you have to re-examine and be like, hold up. I've been letting this sit here this way for 5 months, or a year, or 5 years. We need to be able to get caught up because this old spaghetti code just isn't cutting it anymore, right? And so every now and again you have to do those kind of updates, maintenance, trying to catch up on things, right? Thank you, Doom Rider, for the sub very much. Now here's the dealio. That's not always true. At least not purely mathematically. Let me put a specific example to you. Let's say you work at a tech company. Not a game, just a tech company. And let's say, no, of course not, Peak. I've known about 2.0 since it came out. So let's say, God damn it, Crazy Rose. Let's say for a moment that you work at a tech company and you've got an old, outdated process that works. And every time you have to go do this dumb manual thing to adjust something that you do every day. And you just kind of get used to it because it's just part of your job at that point. Now, you can fix it, but fixing it involves tasking a few programmers several hours of their life in order to go implement a solution, right? Come up with a solution, test the solution, implement the solution, and then bug fix the solution to make sure that whatever it is fixed. So, in terms of the time that those people spend fully devoted to that, you get basic math, right? Time times wages, right? So let's say they make, very made up numbers here, $10 an hour. So they collectively spend 50 hours on it. So there's $500 burnt on that solution. But how much time does it actually take out of your daily life to do those little things manually instead? And how long does it take for that amount of time to add up to those 50 hours? Especially since it only takes you seconds each time it happens. You can still see how this is the kind of thing you probably should do long term, but it's easy to look at that and say, is that worth it? Is that worth that time and effort to remove that tech debt? And that is the other side of the equation, because tech debt isn't something that should always be caught up on. Because after all, if that's an irritation for your workers, well, that sucks, but at the same time, they can just swallow that and deal with those seconds and minutes. However, what if it was on the customer side? That changes the dynamic. Because customers, like, you don't want your customers to be irritated using your interface, right? And so it might be more worthwhile simply to keep your customers happier and therefore keep them as customers. Because you've bothered to go ahead and move in, change that, add that quality of life, and now the customers are less irritable when using your product. Stuff like that, right? So you can see how when it comes to tech debt in video games, especially MMOs, it is almost always the right call to go ahead and try and solve that tech debt. We have several examples of this, actually, but the two biggest ones are Final Fantasy XIV and World of Warcraft. In both cases, WoW sacrificed an entire expansion to really overhauling the game under the hood in a way that they never had before. Like, every expansion has been a jump upwards in terms of tech. But Warlords was just a chakong under the hood. Huge change under the hood. And Warlords suffered for it. But because of that, we got everything afterwards, up to including War Within. FF14, by all accounts, did that a lot during Endwalker. Really poured a whole lot of time and effort and work into adding to what they could do with the engine, what they could do with cutscenes, how they could approach loot design, how they could approach boss design, etc. So both MMOs really poured something into fixing their tech debt problems, and both have benefited from the consequences of doing so. Hello, Czar. And yes, Bethesda is a company that does not solve their tech debt. And has arguably been suffering for that.
Peace be with you.
I thank you for coming to our assistance. As you can see, the refugee situation is dire.
Asha Fela.
Yeah, things don't look great here. What's up?
What brings you here?
We're going to take the ruins of Aberdeen back from the Twilight's Hammer. The elementals they summon must be dealt with on a permanent basis. That's where you come in. Look, I don't expect you to retake the town, but while you're here, you can soften them up for us. Okay, kill them, take their bracers, and put them in the Moonwell.
Be careful.
I am honored. Good luck, friend.
I've flown through the ruins of Aberdeen on a scouting mission. There are 3 Twilight Hammer cultists that are responsible for the Elementalist overrunning the town. Seek out and slay these 3 people. Only then will Sentinel Solarin and her forces stand a chance at retaking our home.
Denadris.
On my flight south from Darnassus to seek out Malfurion Stormrage, I came across these injured refugees from the ruins of Aberdeen. Their cause is just, and I'm helping to heal them, but their injuries are numerous, and it will take time. I trust you'll be able to lend them your aid as well.
Go in peace.
Hold
Good
on to
luck,
that for now.
friend.
I always knew you were a Twilight Hammer cultist, Dantels. Oh, time to kill Dantels. Stab. Oh, absolutely, Asmirastar. It's worth noting, you mentioned Stormblood and Dawntrail, but I should probably mention... I might be exaggerating. It's possible that Endwalker was not actually a major tech debt overhaul. I'm just assuming it was. See, the thing is, again, pretty much every expansion pushes the tech forward. That's true for FF14, and that's true for World of Warcraft. Warlords was a sea change, but as you've literally seen BC to Wrath and Wrath to Kata, as we've been going through this series, you've seen the changes and improvements that they've been going. I've been trying to point them out, too, as we go. Yeah, I feel like they've more or less walked away from the tabards. I will freely admit I haven't worn a tabard. Oh god, not since BC, I think. No, well, that's not true. I haven't worn a tabard for cosmetic reasons since BC. Slightly more accurate. Yes, the cryo engine, or the cry engine, or the death engine, or the... I don't remember what it's called. The engine they've been using since Oblivion is a little old at this point. It's worth noting, however, that the engine in its current status is mostly the same from Fallout 4. The problem there is not that it's old, but that it's crap, which is a little bit of a different problem. Your friends back at the refuge camp are unaware of the true and imminent danger the Twilight Hammer has already brought into the world. For you to deal with that, you'll need to get some help from the dead of Aberdeen. What? Search the ruins of town and find the corpses of these people who used to be NPCs here. Coax their spirits from their bodies and return to me with them.
Elune light your path.
So which of Cataclysm or Pandaria do you think was a bigger shame based on player reaction? I mean, the easy answer there is Kata. But let me try, rather than just answering with that. What do you mean exactly? Like, you mean, because when I hear that, what I think is, it's a shame they didn't do such and such, or it's a shame they didn't do more of this because of. Like, Pandaria, certainly there was a lot of noise when it came out. But by and large, Pandaria has actually been pretty well received to this day. To this day, excuse me, I can say that correctly. And frankly, I think the Pandaria remix kind of bore that out. It's probably why they chose Pandaria for their first remix. We will probably start looking at the grass, like, as in start looking at the grass in Pandaria. It's the next expansion. However, if you've heard me talk about the amazing grass, you've probably seen me talk about it in Dragonflight. Would Starfield have been a better game in a different engine? No.
What can I do for you?
Oh, there was a massive earthquake and everything went black. The next thing I know, I woke up here as a prisoner. Whole town's overrun with air elementals. Hope everyone's okay. These Twilight Hammer scum better not have hurt any of my friends. Quick, use something sharp to jimmy the lock on this chain. Together we should be able to make it to the refugee camp.
Keep your feet on the ground.
Let's do it.
How are you?
I don't really have a weapon, so I'd appreciate it if you could, protect me. 2 escort quests in a row in this zone. Wow. Pandaria is a good example of an expansion that there was a lot of resistance to when it first came out. Oh, they did, Ross. Yeah, Dragonflight, they literally added a physics engine to the game in Dragonflight. And if that doesn't sound impressive, then you have no idea what's involved in adding a physics engine to a pre-existing game. No, it's a valid question, Pika. I have studied Starfield probably more than most people have. But if there's one thing I've come to the conclusion of, it's that it was always going to be a bad game. But there was no hope for that. So why did everyone receive Pandaria so badly? Well, there's a few reasons. Reason number 1. The Cataclysm wasn't exactly super badly received, but there was a fairly lengthy chunk of time in which there wasn't a lot of content. We've talked about content droughts. And the last content patch for Kata kinda sucked. I've been speaking very positively about Kata, but that last raid was kinda trash. It was also extremely divisive, because it added this brand new concept called LFR. And, well, I got a comment today that said that Kata is when WoW died, which I raised my eyebrows at. But still, it was a prevailing mentality that, oh my god, the game has sucked ever since it's gone too casual, by which I mean they've actually made an actually good game to play. Now, in that environment where everyone's just kind of, there's all kinds of issues and problems in all kinds of different directions. Immediately after that came out Pandaria, which by all accounts was going to be a breather expansion, which people are like, meh. And I mean, any of FF14 players, think about the negative backlash towards Dawntrail. That's what we were getting during Pandaria. People are like, oh my god, what is this nonsense? Ugh. Patooey, right? Like, that was the overall mentality, and it was just all over the place. In addition to that, there was the panda thing. And unfortunately, Kung Fu Panda was still very prominent in the cultural zeitgeist at the time. So, that was relevant. People were already kind of iffy. Pandaria comes out, and everyone's like, ugh, it's gonna suck. Now, the good news is Pandaria was actually a pretty big success story for WoW. Probably because Pandaria is a really, really good expansion. Yeah, that's the final thing that's always amused me. Isn't Kung Fu Panda, like, a good film? I admittedly have not seen it, but, like, everyone I've heard has told me it's solid. Why is that the insult? That's like walking up and saying, ugh, what is this, Lord of the Rings, the game? Ugh. Get your elves and dwarves out of my Warcraft. God. Like, what? Anyways, point being, you get the idea. Listen, it's exactly, Sis knows. She understands. I actually remember people mocking Dragon Age Origins for being too much like Lord of the Rings. Which, again, is really funny when you think about how stupid that actually is. No, I'm good. Can we just complete the quest, please? Lady, I can fly. I'll race you. No, you won't. I will admit, Pandaria was a weird time for me. I think I mentioned before, every one of my friends quit in Kata, so I was prepared to walk away from WoW. It wasn't the first MMO I had permanently quit. So, I was prepared for Kata to be it, to be the end. But I really liked the Molten Front and Firelands, as I've mentioned a few times. And then we had Dragon Soul, which was... It was there, but it also added LFR. And as I've said several times, I think LFR was a good move. I think we can do better now, but I do think it was a good move overall. So, woo! I was kind of positively inclined. And then I saw the trailer for Pandaria, and I'm probably the only person in the world who saw that trailer. I was actually pumped for it. I admit that there are several specific reasons for that. Not the least of which being that I personally think that the opening cinematic to Pandaria is the single best cinematic WoW's ever put out. Or the really best, like, expansion cinematic they've ever put out. So, I was prepared to actually like it. So I convinced PAX to come back for the Acclamation, and the Acclamation event sucked. Oh, it was so bad. I can't even tell you what that felt like. Like, try to keep in mind the attitude here. It was just kind of like hesitant. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it won't. Oh, God. Okay. We'll go ahead and try it and see how it feels. And then Acclamation event was just garbage. Like, the launch event. Sorry, I should use their terminology. And it was just, oh. I thought for sure that we were ruined and that we were just going to have a terrible expansion. And it was the end of the game. So Pax and I agreed, okay, I'm going to tell this story again when we get to Pandaria. Pax and I agreed we're going to go and give it, like, until our sub runs out. And that's it. We're just going to play the month and walk away from it and be happy with it. Again, both Pax and I have quit MMOs before, so this was not a big deal, right? Then we did the Jade Forest. I can't tell you what that felt like. I cannot tell you how unique that felt. To walk into the Jade Forest expecting, honestly, trash. Expecting a dumb game to kind of enjoy in the background while chatting with my friend. And then we got the Jade Forest. If you've been paying attention, there's a common trend in Blizzard's zone design. They have a tendency to put their best stuff right up front. And, well, there's a lot of good zones in Pandaria. I would argue that the Jade Forest was probably just where they completely knocked it out of the park. No ifs, ands, or buts. No asterisks. Just, bam! Here's one of the best zones in the game. Have fun. And it was just... oh, dude, I fell in love. I completely fell in love with it. It's funny you say that, Blade Taval. Because if this sounds familiar, then you've heard a very similar story from me before. When you guys dragged me kicking and screaming back to Shadowbringers.
Greetings.
So much death and pain. Can there be any doubt there's more yet to come? All I wish now to do is move on with the others under the goddess's embrace. But first, let's see if we can keep even more misery and destruction from being spread.
May the stars...
Aetherion is almost in our world, but he can still be dealt with. At the end of the docks floats a ritual orb. I want you to complete it. beckoning the Elemental Lord down. Trust me. I and the other spirits you have freed will greatly weaken him. However, it's up to you to finish him off for good.
Goddess, watch over.
Now, this is actually a very clever quest in a very quiet way. So, we're about to finish summoning an air elemental. It's worth noting the air elementals are on the Twilight Hammer side. Kind of? It's... Okay, hang on. It's complicated. Okay, moving on. So, some of the air elementals are partially on the side of the Twilight Hammer cultists. Okay, let's just put it that way. So, an air elemental is going to be summoned down here. Yes, actually it is, Roz. It's going to be summoned down here, and we're going to go ahead and see... and defeat it with some wisps. Why is that so clever? Wisps have an ability back in Warcraft 3, which most people tend to forget even exists. They can detonate in order to do damage to summoned creatures. It's why so many wisps were able to destroy Archimonde during the end finale of Reign of Chaos. So, let's summon this guy, shall we? Today we'll see the end of Lordanel, Malfurion, and you. No, we will not allow that to happen. There go all the wisps. God, come on, camera. What is this, Yalda? There's nothing you or these spirits can do to stop me. We shall see, my friends. Let us weaken him. That really is funny, considering Covenants came out so much after Order Halls, Mr. Red, but I completely get your point. Even in this weakened form, I'll destroy you. Press X to doubt. Oh yeah, Night Elves do not take Ingress particularly well. Goodbye. When did Asheron's Call die? Which time? Like, when was it put on maintenance mode, or when did they finally pull the plug? Because those are different questions. I actually have to look it up, because I did a stream on it, so it's relatively recently. 2017 is when they pulled the plug.
Ishnu Allah.
I cannot thank you enough. Now we have a fighting chance to retake the ruins as soon as we're in better health. Do I not have bracers? Oh my god, I don't. Yeah, you notice I'm just staying out of that conversation by default.
How are you?
Oh, you're the fine lass who saved me, Holy. I have a fitting reward for you here. Really can't thank you enough for bringing it to safety. Ooh, a new weapon. Yes, please.
Off with ya.
It's okay, I'll get there. I know how to make up my own mind. Lord knows I've done it before.
Greetings. Go in peace.
Without those three coaxing them. Wait, I gotta zoom in for Yura here. Perhaps the flow of elementals into the ruin of Aberdeen will be stemmed. Thank you, Zadreed.
May the stars guide you.
You have returned. What news do you have?
Del Nadris.
Yalda? The spirits of the others? He ponders what you've conveyed. I remember them all. They will be dearly missed, but they have moved on to the goddess's embrace, and that is for the best. Ande Tharas Athil, may your troubles be diminished.
Farewell.
But listen, I got one other quest for you. Spend a talent point so your sister doesn't freak out. Just anywhere. It doesn't matter where. Yeah, get up my bar. Come. It was only recently we heard the news of Malfurion's awakening, mere moments before the cataclysm occurred. As soon as he regained consciousness, he gave a cryptic warning about the land splitting in two, if something wasn't done, and how the shockwaves were converging here on Darkshore. He then reportedly set off for somewhere in this vicinity. I was sent to find him, but I found my hands full in helping the refugees. Maybe you could look for him to the southeast. Yeah, sure. He is in the middle of this. Yeah, Ultima Online and EverQuest are still accessible, but Asheron's Call had the plug pulled. I'm still mad about that. Really, I am. Maintenance mode, I've talked about this so many times. Maintenance mode for an old MMO, which only houses a few thousand players, costs pennies. Pennies. But no. Pull the plug.
I must protect the wild.
Hi, Malfurion.
May nature...
There's no time to waste, Druid. It is taking every ounce of my power to keep Darkshore's entire landmass from being shattered and swept into the ocean. You must listen to me very carefully.
May the winds be at your back.
If we are to stabilize the forces of nature, we'll need to get every bit of help we can get. The Furbolg have long inhabited the area and have strong ties to the land. Their elder shaman wields great power over the elements. His assistance would be invaluable. See if he can provide aid.
Nature stands with you.
The Wildkin were once numerous in Darkshore. Such as their ties to the land that the cataclysm shattered Darkshore also decimated their numbers. The Wildkin Arum is the last of his tribe and a powerful elder with a strong connection to Elune. His help will be most necessary in healing the land. You will find him north of here at the Moon-Touched Den.
May nature guide you.
Nothing will repair this land quicker than the strength of those who inhabit it. We Night Elves are fortunate that some of our best allies just happen to be both the land and its inhabitants at the same time. The Ancient of War, known as Selen, was charged with guarding the ruins of Amatharen to the south. Go there and seek his help.
May the winds be at your back.
So, I don't know if I ever told you the story in full yet, Ross. I was the one who did like a big run-through of the big three to determine which one we would go into, so it was kind of my call. No pun intended. EverQuest, yeah, I've told you the snake story, I'm sure. One moment. The creature hoots sadly as it addresses you. Arum is last of tribe. Others won't rest, need funeral pyre. Bring Arum feathers. Let them rest. Okay. I'll go get their feathers. See if I can avoid killing any of them in the process. Excuse me. So I went and poked at Ultima Online, and the first thing I was discovered about Ultima Online was that it was very much an Ultima game. And I feel like that answers the question by itself. But if you never played an Ultima game, let me put it to you this way. It was coarse, it was irritating, and it got everywhere. For real, don't play Ultima games. I'm being a little facetious. There are good Ultima games, obviously. But, like, man, UO was just... Oh, it was a unique form of unpleasant. And it's not like Asheron's Call was exactly a fantastico game, as I've bashed the game many, many, many times over the years. But Asheron's Call at least had, among other things, content. Ultima Online had... Hang on. Could you stand in place so I could practice my spells on you? Or, you know, just incredibly terrible server lag. Or the servers crashing several times a day because they couldn't keep up with players who were deliberately doxing them from within. Oh yeah, UO was very heavy on PvP. There were a couple of areas, like literally painted areas, like certain parts of rooms or buildings, which were PvP safe zones. You could still PvP there, but if you did, you would aggro the guards. My biggest memory about that is... Let me see if I can emulate this in WoW here for a second. So imagine for a moment... we'll use these buildings over here, okay? So imagine this area right here, this little town camp. Town camp? Really, Laura? This little refugee camp is a no PvP zone, right? But the way they painted those zones was very crude. So in other words, I could be standing like right here. In fact, actually, considering how these zone lines are literally done, I can actually show you this because WoW does subzones too. There we go, right there. So let's scooch back there, right there. So I am currently in the Aberdeen refugee camp here. So what people would often do is they would hang out around these kind of spots and provoke you into trying to fight them or attack them or whatever, which would of course then have the guards slam over and kill your face off. There were trolls, there were assholes, there were PvPers. Yeah, it was a whole mess, and it was very, very open world PvP. I actually legitimately think that the three types of MMOs we have now are demonstrated in the original Big Three. EverQuest was your classic MMO, right? It's mostly there about the journey and the process and the game, frankly, not being very good so that the players can make up the rest of the experience, right? Very, very, very player-centric, very, very player-generated centric. Ultima Online is your open world PvP MMO. We have dozens of those now, but you could probably think of 100 or so right off the top of your head. Arcade is another good example of those, or EVE Online even. Those are MMOs which live and breathe on the fact that they are open world PvP, and that's their main gimmick. That's the main approach. Asheron's Call is far more content driven, closer to being a game. There's quests, there's story, there's arcs, there's characters, and there's stuff that actually enables the story to be perceived in the game, and boss fights and dungeons and gimmicks and mechanics and Zelda things, right? And there's our 3 types of MMOs right there. You bring feathers? I thank you. Soon my kin will rest. We need special flame for ritual. What? Oh. Huru's spirit wanders east of here. Huru carries Torch of Elune. Bring here so spirits rest. Sure thing. And to answer you, you're mostly the co-op thing. I, like most players at the time, was pretty into the idea of an MMO. After all, I've been playing MMOs since Neverwinter. And frankly, I've been playing MMOs before that, because I played the MUDs. The very idea of playing an online game with other players kind of had an appeal that is kind of hard to explain nowadays, because it's so normal now. But you have to think about the difference between going from, essentially, the NES to, being able to actually play games with someone on the other side of the country. Yes, Pika, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. It was mind-blowing. It was just kind of like, wow, this is so cool. These games suck, but I don't care, because that guy's from Michigan, It was a whole thing. It was wild. And then we played them for a while, and we kept playing them, and, well, one of 2 things happened. Either A, people started to realize, hey, this game actually kind of sucks, and drifted out of it. That was me, by the way. Or B, we got way too ingrained in the given MMO and refused to let go of it. We got this vice-like grip on it. And we're never going to let it go. You have Torch? Finally, kin may rest. Ah! Oh god, oh god. There we go. Wildkin with a loon. A room in debt. A room help you now. Return to Malfurion. Be at peace, tranquil Wildkin. Good afternoon, Evo. By the way, I'm not trying to sound judgmental about that either. I get it. Yeah, exactly, Ross. That's what I mean when I say they were bad games to facilitate the players overcoming that. Because the whole point in EverQuest was you would go, like, let me emulate something here for you. Let's say I'm wandering around. And I'm wandering with a couple of my friends, and we're, like, doing our thing, and for some reason there's no enemies in the area. Hang on, hang on. This is definitely not the EverQuest experience. Okay, here we go. And there's an enemy. Okay, hang on. Defeat the enemy. Defeat the enemy. Oh, God. Oh, God. Flame patch. Flame patch. Okay, hang on. Put the pet up. Defeat the thing. I'm almost out of mana. I'm almost out of mana. Ugh. Okay, it's done. And then defeating that one encounter was a sufficiently large event that we would sit down. We'd start regenning. Then we just chat. Talk about whatever, Just hang out for a bit. Think about what we're going to do next. Like, fighting the enemy was like the in-between thing, as opposed to being the main content. I have much respect for the great Malfurion Stormrage. I cannot, however, leave my people in their time of need. Maybe there's a way we can both help each other. While most of our brethren have lost their way to madness or corruption, it would seem we have little choice but to ally with you, Night Elf. You can count on our aid, once you've proven we can count on yours. As you can see, my people are having a bit of a fire elemental problem. Help fight them and use this totem on their remains. We will return them where they belong, whether they want to or not. Yeah, by the way, this is the Cataclysm. There's going to be a lot of dealing with elementals in this expansion. Usually earth or fire. Or, sorry, wind or fire. No, I said earth. Those are the hostile ones. Don't worry. Elder Scrolls 6 is gonna suck. I'm very close to actually straight up vetoing it if they don't fix their engine issues. Yeah, no, exactly, Blade to Vault. That really is where it was at. That's why I say it in such a strange way. The game was arguably worse, but it was for the betterment of the experience. Shrug? Anyways, so, first MMO foreigner I met, not counting Canada. Let me actually think about that for a minute. It might be even more recent than I'm thinking. Sorry, but I have to blame Canada, Evo. Oh, I forgot the pun. I made a great pun earlier, and now I can't do it because I don't remember it. And you aren't here! No! Why are you sorry? 15 DKP minus. You see, the thing is, Asheron's call servers weren't really regional either, but it was kind of a US-based game. Like, there was no international presence for Asheron's call. So, honestly, I think the first time I actually found foreigners in an MMO might have actually been in WoW. Now, that's still, 20 years ago, but still. That I'm not sure about, Yura. Well, they keep saying they might be doing more Starfield stuff next year, Pika. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe they'll announce that tonight. Wouldn't that be funny? Now, an ad from our sponsor. Sharks! Do you have a shark? Would you like a shark? Well, the good news is it doesn't really matter because you're getting a shark. Every household in the entire world is getting a huge pile of sharks shipped to them right now. I should mention they've been in the crate and very cranky for the last several hours that they've been shipped to you, so you might want to take care as you're opening set crates. The element of fire is unique in that attacking it indiscriminately often leads to it spreading further, succeeding only in agitating its flames. We are wiser than that. We're going to dispose of it properly. These fire spirits are contained in the totem. Take it to the top of the overlook at the blazing strand and set it on the ground. The totem's soothing energies will slowly wash over the elementals until their fury simmers to a calm. You must protect the totem, for fire does not react favorably to the ritual of being soothed. Yep, Game Awards are tonight. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that anything tonight will be announced that you personally are interested in? Hello, Eva. There's Silk Song. Give me a break. Yeah, I do too. They're straight from Silithus, but they're just done better. In case you can't tell, oh, hang on. I'll show it off in a second. Don't let me forget to show it off. For the record, and I look forward to being proven wrong on this, my answer to my own question is no. At best, yeah, I was going to say, at best there might be one announcement, because that's happened before, where there's like one thing. If I was the development team behind Silksong, who I don't remember the name of, what I would do is I would do my own direct. I would do my own frickin' stream. I wouldn't announce it on anything else. They have enough hype and enough generation behind them to swing that kind of a stick. Team Cherry, thank you. So, check this out. Those stones up there are actually kind of holding up the rest of it, if it makes sense. They're being chained down by the rest of the device, like by the rest of the pavilion or whatever. We're in your debt. Perhaps now with Malfurion's aid, we can save the rest of Darkshore. Won't be immediate, but the elemental's anger will die down and my people will live to fight another day. I can now go help Malfurion in any way I can. Yeah, the Twilight Hammer, a lot of people, for good reason, misunderstand the idea that the Twilight Hammer are all about the elements. That's actually not true. The Twilight Hammer are all about the old gods and the Twilight. You know, the Void. It's just, they also almost always tend to work with or enslave elementals in order to do their bidding. So you can see the easy comparison point. I know that sounds like I'm just saying a lot of people associate Nazis with tanks, but that's not actually true. But it's kind of the direction I'm going with. I am out of stamina, holy crap. My fault for zipping around there. What do you got, boy? If the great Malfurion requires my presence, it is my duty to heed his call. However, it is also my duty to protect his ruins. Perhaps he'll help me fulfill both of my obligations. I would be neglecting my responsibilities if I abandoned my post, with so many elementals out of control. Let us deal with them first, before we can aid Malfurion. What do you say, small one? Let's do it. Yeah, the elementals are pure tools to the Twilights. They don't actually care about the elements at all. The only reason you see so many shamans amongst the Twilight Hammer cultists is because, well, honestly, Ner'zhul is the easy answer to that, but if you don't remember the significance of that statement... yes, I do, Pika. I've actually talked about this before. The shamans acquire an external source, right? They require something else to empower them in order to use their abilities. A lot of that times that's from elemental spirits or ancestral spirits, things that are very, very easy to be disguised as, to be deceived by. I'm saying this wrong. God, I don't have words. It's easy for other things to pretend to be elemental spirits or ancestral spirits, or indeed to just pretend to be, or just to manipulate them. The source of the input can be really screwy. And so, for lack of a better way to put it, it's very easy and common for shamans to constantly hear the whispers, for lack of a better way to put that. It's one of the biggest downsides of having shamanistic magic. You are kind of always at the purview of your patrons. Now, I said that really wrong because I swear I'm just falling asleep here. I'm so damn tired, I apologize. I mean, I know exactly why I'm so tired. It's because I haven't been able to take a nap in like 4 days in a row because things just keep getting in the way. But, the thing I was trying to explain is, in addition to everything I just said about, like, deception, you have to also understand that a lot of the old gods deliberately reach out to and try and coerce certain elemental lords into working for them. So, right now, for example, both Al-Akir and Ragnaros are actually working for N'Zoth, the last remaining old god. So, any shaman who is channeling the power of fire or the power of air is pretty much getting a direct pipeline to someone who is working for their enemies, right? So that, yeah, can cause issues. And of course, in both cases, it's heavily political. That's why I mentioned that "it's complicated" thing earlier. Take in those vanilla textures for a second. Because it is complicated. The air elementals as a whole are not in favor of the old gods, any more than the fire elementals as a whole are not in favor of the old gods. There's courts, there's politics, there's position. there's power plays going on under the hood in the Firelands and in the Wind Realm. I can't think of the name of it right now. And so that plays a part of it as well. So the ones we see out here, summoned out into the Azeroth, these are usually our enemies because of the fact that they're here. But even that's not 100% true. And we'll see a bit of this when we go to Deepholm as well. Anyways, it's become clear the elements won't be calm until Malfurion succeeds in returning balance to the land. Aiding him is thus also fulfilling my task. My duty here has been fulfilled as best it can. Send word to Malfurion. I'll be joining him soon. Excellent. What am I expecting from the Game Awards? Let's see. General disrespect towards creative people. Criminal negligence when it comes to security detail. And a whole lot of ads. That's what I'm expecting.
How may I aid you?
This is fortunate news. The Furbolgs may seem more than a savage race, but their ties to the land are ancient. Their shamans are second to none.
Nature stands with you.
The Wildkin were once guardians of the land. It's good to hear they haven't all forgotten the old ways.
May the winds be at your back.
Selen's help in holding back the vortex will be invaluable.
May nature.
Our efforts in containing the destruction don't appear to be quite enough. I fear we're going to need the aid beyond the waking world. Twilight cultists inside the Earthshatter Cavern to the east have opened a gateway to the nightmare-infested section of the Dream. They hold a green dragon prisoner there named Thisara. Go through the Nightmare Portal and free her. She'll be a powerful ally.
Nature stands with you.
Whoa! Oh, hello. I've been thinking about that DLC Game of the Year thing. On the one hand, I kind of get the argument that it's a meaty, chonky DLC and therefore should be considered for a game. But on the other hand, I also completely disagree with that. Should it be the best expansion of the year? Yeah, probably, by all accounts. Like, I've heard nothing but good things about it. Well, that's not true. I've heard nothing but... I have heard plenty of good things about it. There we go. Let's phrase it that way. But it's not a new game. And among other things, it's actually legitimately unfair. It is unfair to do something like that. Like, one of the many reasons why games like WoW and FF14 exist separate from other games is it would quite literally be unfair to judge other games by the metric of FF14. If I judged which my favorite Final Fantasy game is, and I included FF14 in that consideration, I am being horrifically unfair to every other FF. Because FF14 has years upon years of content and patches and update and work and effort and time in order to develop and do a better and better and better and better game. FF6 can't compete with that, right? Also true, Crazy Norse. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that the argument that the DLC should be considered because it's a good DLC is surface level at best. There's just too many other layers going on here. Hello? Malfurion calls? Yes, I can hear his voice through the dream. How are you going to get out of here? This is a small cave. His words are true. The rift that threatens to split Darkshore in half also threatens the separation between this world and yours. Let me aid you in any way I can, lest further rifts between our world amplify the destruction taking place in both places. First, you must undo the shackles cast upon me by retrieving the Emerald Scroll from the Nightmare Guardian. I can do that. God damn it, Blade-Duel. You know what I mean. That's also true of Monobrand. I don't want to go too much down that rabbit hole, but I also think that news media in general needs a very swift kick up the arse. Even when it comes to something like games. Yeah, we'll see, Pika. We'll see. The other one is Black Myth Wukong, which I've heard is pretty mid. Like, it's probably the kind of game I wouldn't enjoy. But it's probably decent, you know. It's probably not Game of the Year material, to be quite honest. Well, there's this company called Hanna-Barbera. I want to introduce you to. They're the source of all the evil in the world. That's not true. That's not true at all. But they are singularly responsible for a lot of the perception that animation is cheap and only for kids. Did you find it? Thank you. You've given me my freedom. Let's see what we can do about your world now. Hold on tight. The journey back to the waking world can be a little bit rough for unprepared minds and bodies. What do you mean? Oh god, what are we doing? What are we doing? Ah! I did enjoy Ghost of Tsushima. Lots of people did Trihaxia. But Hanna-Barbera built its entire animation empire on 2 precepts. Doing animations for kids, and being really, really cheap. So, if you got in a Hanna-Barbera cartoon, you weren't serious. That was not real animation. If you were an actor in a Hanna-Barbera cartoon, you're not a real actor. If you're an animator doing storyboarding for it, you're not a real storyboarder. Because all you're doing is those stupid kid cartoons. That was the mindset.
Greetings, friend.
You're just in time. I don't know how much longer we can hold.
May nature...
Twilight riders circle the skies above the vortex. I fear it is their magic that's kept the cataclysmic forces from being contained by our efforts. Take to the skies and destroy the riders and the portal from whence they came.
May the winds be at your back.
I know what my game of the year is, but that doesn't count, because I count things differently. I only played, what, 2 games that actually came out this year? Yeah, it's more like a boss rushy kind of a game, Pika. From what I understand, it lacks several key components of a proper Souls-like, but then again, don't quote me on that, I don't know anything. No, I hit the wrong button. God dang it. I literally hit the wrong button. Oh, I know, Crazy Horse, but the question was probably spoken by an American for the perspective of United Statesian, so... Yes, United Statesian, you can quote me on that. I should just call them Freedonians and be done with it. Or was it Fredonians? I never remember how they pronounced it. That's crazy talk, Pika. No one can like good things. No one! Yeah, no kidding. You remember Darkshore Vanilla? Because I do. Right now we're riding around on a green dragon trying to stop the invasion of the Twilight's Hammer from making a gigantic cyclone even worse. I should look right down at that. That's... Sorry, Annie. Oh, I agree, Fife. That's why we should have a Best Expansion of the Year award. That kind of quality should be recognized in its own category, where it belongs.
How might nature...
We are turning the tides, Zadrigid. We should be able to contain further damage. Much work still remains to be done.
Nature stands with you.
Our work in Darkshore is not quite done. We might have stopped the landmass from shattering, but our enemies have a strong presence in the area. I want you to contact a group of druids at the Grove of the Ancients. They're led by an old friend of mine, Balron of the Claw. Tell them our time has come to battle our foes. I will come to the aid of them as soon as we stabilize the area.
May nature guide your path.
I will agree with that, Dantels. But, like, again, my biggest memory of Darkshore was, alright, you got a quest down here. Okay, now walk up to Aberdeen. Oh, Aberdeen's up there. Okay, now go back down there. Okay, now go to Aberdeen. Now go over here. Now go back to Aberdeen. Now go back down here. Now go back to Aberdeen.
Ishnu Allah, Goddess
As
Wacho.
Malfurion placed his trust in you, so shall I. You'll find our enemies greatly outnumber us this far south. Where brute force and numbers fail us, strategy and guile will prove our biggest advantages.
May the stars guide you.
To the southwest lies the corpse of a being somehow related to the old gods that the Twilight Hammer's cult worship. He was defeated before our time, if not by the Titans themselves, certainly by one of their creations. We've noted an increase in cult activity in the area, which can only mean something terrible is amiss. We're going to need to find out what they're planning and why. Here, take this figurine. It'll help you avoid being detected while you gather intel.
Till next we meet.
What brings you here?
Our ancestors lived alongside the Blackwood Furbolgs for generations, but recently we have lost contact with the settlements further into the forest. One of their larger villages, Blackwood Hold, can be found to the south. Travel there and find the Elder Brawl. Ask him why his people have withdrawn from us. Offer help
May
if
the
necessary.
stars guide you.
Sure. But hang on, one more thing.
I am honored.
My first concern right now is for the Thistlebear families who call what's left of these woods home. Just to our south, beyond the Bear Shrine, an entire generation has fallen ill. Gruesomely ill. As a Druid, I don't know what they're suffering from, but it's consumed them from within. It pains me a whole generation is beyond saving, but we have to kill them off so the earth can reclaim their bodies. More importantly, we need to find the source. Investigate the lake that they drink from.
Go in peace.
I can do that. It's okay, those trolls are all dead now, prisoners. No, literally, they're all dead. We killed all of them. The women. And the children. Sorry. I've heard good things about Metaphor. I'm not sure if I have personal interest in it. I don't know if I'm physically capable of playing a game that long right now. Yes, I understand the irony of the statement. Shut up. I sure hope not, Von Falkenstein. I really want to finish this zone today. Darkshore is kind of a meaty one. Especially by Kata's standards. I think part of the problem is they were following through on so many story arcs. Like, they had the Ruins of Aberdeen, and then they had what was going on with the Shatterspear trolls. Then, we had saving the entire land from the storm, which is what we just did with Malfurion. And now we're playing cleanup further south. I mean, that's exactly the point, isn't it, Ross? The last thing I need right now is another gargantuan RPG to slog through. I know what you're thinking. So WoW is a slog? Yeah, up until about a few days ago, yeah. Since we're this far into the stream, I feel comfortable saying this now. God, you have no idea how much of a relief it is to finally be in Kata. Oh my god. It is such a sea change from my perspective. That looks lovely. It took 45 streams to knock out the previous 2 expansions. We did it! Let's see, anything going on over here? Oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot, oh shoot! We're good, we're good. Everything's fine. Oh, that looks lovely. Ah, the war campaign. It's a nice sword. Yeah, Evo. I'm a druid. Listen, I know you would hate playing anything other than a mage in this game. Yeah, you remember when we were pushing through error? How long did it take us to get through error anyways? Is that, Oh, shoot. Okay. Fly. Like, I know how long the review was. It was 100 and some odd hours. It was the longest, second longest, excuse me, of the expansions in FF14 by quite a margin. There's other classes, Evo! Drag you to the other classes, kicking and screaming! Oh, sorry. What? Yes, it's wrong! It's morally wrong! It's ethically wrong! It's like... I don't really have the ability to do that, no, Lord Haremont, as sad as that sounds. You have to understand, this thing up here, this is updated automatically, based on the document. So the only way to do that would be to not actually have them be there, and literally not have the negatives be on the document. I get your point, though. I do. If it makes you feel any better, right now we're at negative... hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're at 6 negatives to Kata so far, to gameplay. Scooch, 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 scooch. Sneak, 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 sneak. Sneak, sneak, sneak. Is it up? It's up, isn't it? 26 VODs. That feels really low. Why are we digging this thing up anyways, boss? Watch your tongue, worm. You will not refer to Soggoth the Slitherer as that thing, or you'll find yourself eating your own heart for dinner. Now get back to work. Your superiors are watching from the outlook and over above, and they do not take kindly to idleness. The cultists appear to be digging out the remains of the being known as Soggoth the Slitherer. Yeah, that's him. Perhaps their superiors have more information. Well, let's go kill them then, shall we? I mean, not kill them. I would never kill people in this game. What are you talking about? Of course, Magister. Who hasn't? Our men are almost finished unearthing Great Saga. Is the ritual ready? Not quite. We shall need a great many offerings of sacrifice before the herald of the old gods roams the land again. Do not worry. Like I said, our men are almost done unearthing the slithering one. They'll make for a suitable, even voluntary sacrifice. Soggoth will rise, because we're the Twilight Hammer. I just realized this is actually our first time really showcasing the Twilight Hammer. So the Twilight Hammer are evil end-of-the-world doom cultists who serve the old gods in service of trying to end all life in reality and replace it with a much more corrupted and evil version. Any questions? I skipped over a lot of details there, actually. I suppose there are several valid questions there. Could be Auralia. I mean, that would track, wouldn't it? Even though I said it was like 4 years. Why have you come here, outsider? Yeah, I was sent by Forail Broadleaf from the Grove. The elf is right. The forces of Felwood have seeped into Darkshore and sickened my people. Felwood? The foul satyr of Felwood have started to introduce their poison into Darkshore, into our lands. Their corruption kills the land and twists the creatures who live in it. My people are no exception. Our magic alone is not enough to bring them to their senses. There's an herb called the Bear's Paw. We use it to break fevers and fortify the weak. With its help, we may be able to help the influence of the satyr. The herb grows in wild places around the village. Okay. How are the benefits? Really good. What? Pillars of Snow? Hold up. Hit the stream brakes. I saw a comment about this earlier today, too, but I didn't have time to follow through on it. We'll talk about the Twilight Hammer in a second, because apparently YouTube's being YouTube again. What? Hey? Alright. See if that fixes it. There we go. Jesus. I don't know how that's even possible for that to have happened. So I don't... Anyways, moving on. That means I need to start checking all of my playlists on YouTube. Because that probably affects more than just that one. Hang on a sec. Let me check my FF14 playlist really quick, see what it was doing. So, okay. YouTube offers this option to allow you to change how they sort on a per playlist basis, which is a good thing. But the problem is, it was doing 2 separate sort methods at the same time in one playlist. I have no idea how or why. I'm guessing something got updated in the middle of the WoW run. Because it was doing, like, in reverse order, and then proper order. In that order, if that makes any sense. It looks like every other of my recent playlists is just fine, so I guess that really is just something that recently happened. Yeah, there's Starfield, which is in the correct order. Okay. Whatever. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. What the hell was I talking about? Right, Twilight Hammer. So, to understand the Twilight Hammer, you have to understand the Void. Now, we don't 100% know what's going on with the Void yet, but we do know a few things about how Void operates. As an entity, no, sorry, the opposite of an entity, as a concept, as a fundament. So Void is reductive and alterative. So Void doesn't really, like, destroy you. Void tries to change you into something else. Void also happens to be fairly chaotic. Now, it's not the only thing that's chaotic. There's several chaotic energies within this setting, but that means that Void in general tends to be very manipulative and very chaotic. Okay? Makes sense? Really, Pillar System? Jesus Christ. No, of course not, Crazy Horse. You notice they just mentioned that guy might have been killed by a Titan, because they hadn't even decided what Titans were yet at this point in time. Pandaria is when they finally sat down and started codifying the lore. So the Void is very, very big on, changing you into something that is more suitable with whatever it is. Now, I want to stress that that's not the same as the Void Lords or the Old Gods. They're evil. They're the Void made evil. It's the simplest way to put that. They are not cool people, and they absolutely want to do everything in their power to twist and corrupt the entirety of the known universe into a physical representation of themselves. Screw them, right? The biggest thing you have to understand about Void, though, is one of the most... It's hard to explain because it's not something that's as linear, but the easiest way to accept Void powers is doubt. There's a line of dialogue in this game, which is actually in Kata, which does such a wonderful job of explaining it in just one line of dialogue. There's a particular individual who was someone who was like, yes, I am a champion of the light, and I believe in good and justice. And then he becomes an agent of the Old Gods. He becomes one of the Void. And as he's dying, he says, I looked into the eyes of the dragon, and I saw despair. And that conveys so much in that one sentence. That's Void in a nutshell. It kind of slips into the cracks, for lack of a better way to put that. And yeah, there's a lot of different ways to think about it. And yeah, Void is not necessarily evil. Nothing. No fundament within Warcraft is evil or good, while we're on the subject. There's plenty of ways for Void to be just another thing. We overwhelmingly see the Void as an evil thing because the people who wield it are evil. It's the same thing with death. I know that sounds strange, but death is just another fundament. It's not something that is evil. It is just something that we happen to have seen be wielded by the Scourge and the Demon Lords, right? So if the Demon Lords wandered around using nothing but nature magic all the time, people would have the same perspective. Oh, naturalism is evil! But actually, no. That's just the tool they decided to use, right? So, The Twilight Hammer is all of the people who have decided to believe the concepts and precepts of the Void, and as such have joined a unified organization in order to try and find some degree of meaning, identity, and comfort within the group, right? To be a part of the group. Now, if you're paying attention, what I just said is really vague. It's a huge umbrella term that can apply to a huge number of people for huge different reasons. Which is the point. The Twilight's Hammer cult is gargantuan. It is filled with millions of people in the universe from all walks of life, regardless of race or creed or age or position or prominence. Doesn't matter, because tons and tons and tons of people all have different reasons for falling to the void, for lack of a better way to put it. Some people have been disenchanted. Some people are displaced. Some people are hurt. Some people just need something to believe in. Some people have legitimately lost their minds, right? So there are all kinds of... If the planet had a decent population, it would be millions. Like, millions in real life terms is pathetically minuscule. That's why I say millions. I mean, millions is a rounding error in real life populations. Please don't get caught on the minutia here. A lot of people are Twilight Hammer cultists from all walks of life. Is that better? Does that make it more accurate? Now I've lost my train of thought. Some of them have legitimately had their minds be twisted. One of the things that the Void tends to do, I've already talked about this, is it tends to make you a little bit more like itself, especially when it's actually being pushed by something. So, for example, let's say I'm, random example, an old god, and I want a whole bunch of people to do my bidding, so I'm going to offer you all kinds of things. I'm going to offer you peace, I'm going to offer you a deal, I'm going to offer you a place to belong, whatever it is you want. And then I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to be a voice in the very, very quiet back part of your mind. And bit by bit, your mind is going to twist to be more like what I want it to be. So we will see quite a few Twilight Hammer cultists who are just gibberingly mad. Fictional insane, right? Just blah, 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 blah. And that's the Twilight Hammer in a nutshell. We see all kinds of people like this throughout it. And it's also worth noting that most people in the Twilight Hammer are crazy to some extent or another. Except for QoL, or miraculously, except for half of QoL, but I don't want to talk too much about him. We'll probably see him first in Faralas, I imagine. Anyways. And that's the Twilight Hammer. Any questions? They're poor weak stalks, but they're all we have. The corruption spreads quickly, even amongst the plants of the forest. Before the Bear's Paw can be used to cleanse the afflicted, it must be completed and blessed. To the north of the village roams a tall strider named Fleetfoot. You'll need its tail feathers to complete the herb. Bring me the tail feathers and the bear's paw to the ancient bear statue. While at the shrine, combine them and receive the bear's blessing. Ah, now that's the wonderful part about a Blitzball. Because for the most part, they don't. For the most part, the Twilight's Hammer is just a roaming mob. What they need is, ironically, order and structure. They need the sane to be able to lead the insane. That's why I mentioned QoL a little bit there. QoL is a two-headed ogre, and like all properly written two-headed ogres, he's actually two separate people. Two souls, two minds, however you want to think of that. So, one of those souls is completely mad. The other one is wholly sane. Yeah, exactly. The Zerg Swarm without any kind of leadership is not a bad comparison point for what the Twilight's Hammer are innately. It's one of the reasons why, during the course of Cataclysm, as we take out so many of their leadership, while the Twilight's Hammer cult still exists, post-Cata, it might as well not, because it has no organizational roots anymore. It cannot function anymore. Oh, there it is. Like, we'll still be seeing Twilight Hammer cultists in Legion, to use an example. But it's like a roaming group of like like a dozen people. A number of people that is not a lot of people. And that's it. That's what the Twilight Hammer descends to.
can I assist you?
And yeah, we also had some stuff in BFA as well, because obviously Nazoth. This is dire news. If you are correct, we'd best act swiftly and decisively. We cannot allow this Sogoth to be brought back to life.
Good luck, friend.
I am honored.
Listen, we need to learn more about what we're up against. To the southwest, beyond the Master's Glaive, is a group of dwarven prospectors. Maybe they have knowledge useful to us in this
Del
matter.
Nadris. What brings you here?
Katharina recoils at your description of the ravaged animals and the cruel device at the bottom of the lake. Zedrid, this is terrible. What is that thing, and how did it get there? Something is devouring these animals, physically and spiritually. I had suspected the satyrs are some sort of disease, but this is unnatural.
Asha Felas.
Something is trying to devour the life of Darkshore from within. I'll ask you to learn more about this thing you discovered in the lake. Meanwhile, we need to protect the local wildlife from further harm. Could you get some materials for me? I'll need life in all its incantations. Yeah, sure.
May the stars guide you.
Hey, can I have a seed, please? Powerful reagent for one Soya. You will kill many foes in the name of your alliance, but it's important to remember that the great cycle, birth, is as powerful as death. He pulls up an inconspicuous acorn and then lowers it to you. This is extremely potent. I apologize. I did not wish for that to sound like a boast. Sorry. I mean, it's not exactly what you'd call a stretch to say that any Twilight Hammer remnants were absorbed into either Nazoth's group or the, I don't even remember what they're called, from Dragonflight. You know, the Twilight Hammer Light cult. The Kmart brand, we have Twilight Hammer at home. I hate them so much. There we go. Have you visited the bear statue? Oh, this is exactly what we needed. The bear's spirit favors us, and there may be hope for my brothers after all. With the sacred herbs and the bear's blessing, you must use the herb bundle to cleanse my brothers. The corruption spilling over from Felwood has driven them mad, and they will attack any who come near. Expect the afflicted to be angry with you until you have slain the spirits of the corruption that haunt them. When you have freed my brothers from their madness, return to me. The satyrs of Felwood have started pouring their hate and corruption into our lands. They have sent Sherax the Defiler to subdue parts of the forest we call home. In addition to poisoning the land, animals, and plants, he set up jade fire braziers throughout the village to help extend his control over our people. Destroying the braziers won't be enough to stop him, but it'll be enough to lessen his influence while you work with Elder Brawl. I mean, it's understandable why Void is so damaging. It's hard for most orderly minds to conceive of something quite that chaotic. Let's go with this. Let's put it... Yeah, I'll put it there. Again, maybe chaotic isn't quite the right word, but whatever. You gotta use Glyph of Stars, come on. I mean, the player character is the obvious example of someone not going insane from it. Illyria is the other obvious example. Illyria is probably one of the best examples of someone who's truly void that we ever see. As weird as that probably sounds. Because Illyria is just void and not, you know... She has nothing really else attached to her. Right? Like, almost everyone who is of the void is of the old gods, or of the Twilight Hammer, or something, right? Like, there's some kind of baggage there that's like, yeah... Now, we're not sure exactly, last I checked, of what's going on with the Locust Walker. He's a question mark. I suspect we'll see more of him in the future, though. Yeah, he's definitely got some of that X-Files, trust no one kind of vibe going on. They're having cryptic chess. You're not actually playing chess, but you're trying to make the other person think that you are. And if you successfully make them think that you are, then that's how you win. Oh, she's very void. That's the funny thing. She's even filled with doubt. It makes perfect sense. Whoops, I keep doing that. Yep, you win by actually not playing. It's great. Would I say the PC Shadow Priest isn't insane? I don't know. Like, we have extremely little to go off of there, right? All we really have to go off of is specifically the artifact quest for the Shadow Priest, and that's it. Everything else is debatable because it was designed for, like, priests in general or PCs in general. Having said that, I would like to think that my personal Shadow Priest take on it, or my priest, or however you want to think of that, is more unhinged than insane. I know, what's the difference? Well, I mean, unhinged is someone who's willing to go way, way, way above and beyond in order to accomplish something. Which especially makes sense given what was happening during Legion, right? Now, apparently there's something during War Within as well, which obviously I wouldn't know anything about. I would be surprised if you-know-who in War Within doesn't actually acknowledge us. So that makes sense. Bingo, Pillagers know. Kind of how I tend to look at the player Warlock. Are they good? Yeah. Are they insane? Not really. Are they going beyond the bounds of reasonability in order to accomplish their goals? Yeah. Like, there's saying whatever it takes, and then there's taking up a sentient dagger, which is dripping with void energies in order to use it to defeat the Legion. Knowingly. Oh, the player Death Knight is kind of the same thing, but in a different angle. Like, whereas the player Warlock and the player Priest are more like... The player Death Knight is just... fine. Wham! And then they just do it, right? They just deal with it, because they have to, because they know they have to. Now, what's really funny about that is that's also debatable. Yes, I do, Magister. Death Knights, especially player Death Knights, have a whole lot of time where they do something rather questionable. And there was probably another way around that. And instead, they're just like, no, we're just going to do this. And we're going to do it this way. And we're going to do it now. They're extremely utilitarian. Which is, it's very similar to Unhinged, but it's a different flavor of it. Like, no, this is how things are now. Wham. Some of you probably remember during the lore run, I even specifically recorded a bit of my character saying, I do what I must, during a certain quest in the East Lights Hope Chapel in the Eastern Plaguelands. Because that's the justification, right? We do what we must. Oh yeah, Hien would absolutely be a Death Knight. No question. That's an interesting sentence to say. Not one I thought I'd say recently, but here we are. And yeah, the Tyrion thing in Legion, yeah, that's... Good night, Crazy Horse. Get some good rest. You have done well. My people have begun to emerge from their madness, but they will fall back into it if we do not deal with the source of the corruption. The Jadefire Satyrs of Felwood have found their way into the Darkshore. tainting the land, water, and creatures they encounter. You've seen what their corruption has done to my people and their homes. If we do not turn back the satyrs, all of us will share that fate. Within the cave to the east is Sherax the Defiler, the satyr responsible for all the ills of Blackwood. Slay him and free us from his influence. Show the satyr the Blackwood will not lay down and die quite so easily. Oh gosh, that's actually a tough one, Blade Tamal. My knee-jerk thought is actually Arcane Mage. Because, well, that probably sounds weird, considering how generally structured and organized you have to be an Arcane Mage. But Arcane Mages also have the ability to be just stupid powerful. And they're very, very used to constantly doing very difficult, very taxing things in order to inflict their will upon the world around them. And that sounds a lot like the Warrior of the Light to me. He is just... I say he because it's me. They are just that good at what they do, and they have the discipline and the skill necessary to actually pull it off on a daily basis. Hence the idea... I mean, I could just picture an Arcane Mage thing of popcorn. Just taking a chill, you know. It's cool. It's cool. To my knowledge, no, Rain 36. I mean, obviously the source is a little bit different, but orderly magic is orderly magic, right? I could be wrong about that, though. Ugh. Thank you, Zadrid. You are my hero. Without you, we would be doomed to madness and death. May the bear spirit always watch over you. Thank you. Seeking classes known for seeking out adventure in challenging circumstances. Yeah, the only thing that came to mind immediately was hunters, ironically. By the way, can we get more of the Unseen Path, please? That was such a fascinating group. I could see Warrior, too, ironically.
Peace be with you.
Life is powerful. Concentrated in its purest form, it can overcome anything. Someday, even Darkshore will heal from its wounds.
Illume light your path.
Perfect. This is everything. Did you have fun collecting the wisp? I used to chase wisps around Ashenvale when I was a little girl. I'm afraid I found out what we're dealing with.
Goddess watch over you.
Are you familiar with the old ones? Onu and I agree the artifact you found at the lake can only be their work. It's devouring Darkshore. Something is stirring up terrors we thought dead long ago. This is bigger than you or me, but my first concern is protecting the wildlife. Here, this sapling contains the life essence you gathered for me. I believe it can protect the local fauna. Test it out in the nearby unconsumed bear, stag, or moonwalker.
Go in peace.
You know what happens. I mean, we also haven't seen much of the Uncrowned since then either, which is another group I would really like to see more of. Yeah, I'm actually with Kira White Noise. There's actually nothing really preventing you from being able to wield all of the fundaments. Except for just, like, reality, right? That's such a stupid way to put that. I mean, there's nothing preventing you from lifting that car over there. That's a bad analogy. There's nothing preventing you from being... Nope, someone kill 5. There's nothing preventing you from being a brain surgeon who is also a world-class electrician, who also is a world-class engineer, who can also make robots and blah, blah, blah. Like, there's actually a term for that in fiction. It's called the omnidisciplinarian. So there's nothing technically preventing that. It's just... Right? Like, yeah, exactly, Lara Horton. Nothing is actually preventing you in Reality Land from being a expert in every academic field that exists, other than reality. That's interesting. Hey, could someone go shoot Lord Harrowmont in the face really quick, please? The good news is Madon is completely non-canonical. I don't even have to talk about him. I mentioned him once when someone was asking who he is, and that is as far as that's going. I'm not even going to explain him a second time. He is that irrelevant. He does not exist. Boop. Yep, he is on page 404.
Goddess bless you.
That's not a joke.
Elune
The
light.
sapling you carry grows in power even as we speak. Life is regenerative. Did it work?
May the stars.
Congrats, says Miristar. Interesting, it sounds like our cure will keep the wildlife safe, but you say you saw something else? Some kind of angry presence? That's a good sign. Whatever is behind this isn't happy, and that means we're onto something.
Goddess watch over
Now that
you.
we know our preventative measures work, we should cover as much ground as possible. I've arranged to commandeer one of our hippogriffs, but I can't do this alone. Talk to my friend Orseus. Let me know when you're ready, and we'll get there. We'll canvas Darkshore from the air. I do like canvassing things from the air.
Hello.
I wish to canvas from the air. Arr! Let's do it. I did, Aurelia, but I didn't get to read it in time. Let me scroll up a little bit. So let's see. So Alphino is a disciplined priest. Yeah, 100%. Alize is an enhancement shaman. Again, agreed. There's like nothing here. Urianger would be Mistweaver Wonk. Bonk. I'll come back to that. Thancred would be Outlaw Rogue. Yeah, that's an easy one. Estinian would be Demon Hunter. Again, yeah, it's his shtick. Y'shtola would be Arcane Mage. You know, honestly, Y'shtola vibes a little bit more like a Warlock to me. That's true, Ross. I also literally know it was less time. I keep track of the hours. Unfortunately, I don't know Evoker, so I can't comment on that. I think she does too, Dantles. Which is why we're going to forevermore pretend that that character doesn't exist. Boom. And he's gone, just like that. It's that easy. Yeah, like, I don't know. Y'shtola just feels warlocky to me. Yeah, willing to use forbidden magic should the situation require it. Knows how to channel life, and life energy specifically, and knows how to use it in furtherance of her cause. Very intelligent, very disciplined, right? Because you have to be a proper warlock. Like, there's there are literally two types of warlocks in the world. There are those who are incredibly skilled, practiced, disciplined, and on top of it so that they don't lose themselves to the fell powers they consume. Or there are dead warlocks who are usually burnt out by their own casting. Why would anyone want to dig up something so horrific? I'm convinced those things are behind what's happening to the animals here. Yeah, probably. Probably a matter of Lord. Yeah, the dead warlocks. They make for a good health battery for the not dead warlocks. Hey, there's a soul there. One of my attacks, no joke, on a warlock is to fling a dead demon's soul at the enemy. That's just an attack I get. Fling. Sorry, one moment. Oh, dude, yeah. Catboy is 100% a paladin. Like, you look at him and you think priest, but no. He's a paladin. That dude could be right up front. He is a martially trained, faith-based caster. It's almost one-to-one. He's one of the few that's just immediate. Boom, done.
Go in peace.
So the animals are safe then. Thank you. But now it's time to turn our attention to the source. Now that the creatures of Darkshore are safe, let's turn our attention to the artifact you found in the lake. I believe it's the work of a minion of the old gods. We'll fight these fiends using the very life-giving energies of Darkshore itself. Take the Lifebringer sapling to the shore of the shallow lake south of here. Wave it over the waters. That should disable the artifact. Be careful. It's likely guarded by who knows what.
Goddess watch over you.
The problem is, I like the idea of Urianger being augmentation spec, but I haven't played an evoker. So, like, I don't even know. Like, evokers are also kind of weird in where their power comes from. Hello? Oh my gosh. Hi. Do I have to kill you? I have to kill you. Okay, I can do that. Yeah, no kidding, Blizzard Snow. Ooh, he hurts. Okay. Having said that, have you noticed, and has any of you seen the, I think it was German, survey that WoW sent out recently? I'll cut to the chase. There's a fairly good chance they're considering other buff specs for WoW, and can I just say, yes. 100% in favor of more buff specs. That's something I've said for a while now, is that augmentation was a prototype. It was a test bed. They appear to like what they did with it, so yes, please. Excuse me. Getting dry.
What brings you here? Asha Fela.
I'm afraid to ask. Is the artifact destroyed? What about its guardian?
May the stars guide.
Oh, level alone, look at you. You must have been some fight. You're covered in what looks like chowder. If a mere minion could cause so much damage, I can't even imagine what the suffering a true old one would bring about. At least the animals are safe for now. I will plant the sapling you created to help rebuild the Shadowland. Thank you. I'd give you a hug, but, you know, the chowder. I understand completely. I cannot wait to try out Augment, by the way. So, Urianger. I could see Resto Shaman for healing. He's already kind of tapping external powers to him, right? In order to try and channel most of his healing magic as an astrologian.
What can I do for you?
This dig here is compromised. The League wants us to grab everything of value and clear out. Easily said, not so easily done.
Be good.
Oh, we know a thing or two about this Sogoth. Question is, do you really want to know?
Safe travels.
Damn, Mr. Red, that was a lot of work. Congrats. Just for that, I will not kill you unless you decide to work for Garrosh. The Master's Glaive was the site of an ancient battle, Zadreed. The Titans sent 20 of their stone giants against Sogoth. Of those 20, only one survived. The tablets say that Kron, largest of the stone giants, allowed himself to be entangled by the tendrils, just long enough to be lifted close enough to the mighty creature's skull, within reach of his mighty sword. It's a good thing he's dead. We don't have 20 stone giants lying around to stop him again.
Keep your feet on the ground.
The big beards at Ironforge sent me here to check on the Rim Travel's dig at the moment they got word of the disaster. Look at it. Precious artifacts washed to sea. Months of tedious digging undone in a moment. When the tidal waves hit, they demolished the murloc encampments by the shore. Good news? Not with my luck. The survivors are squatting in the shelter of the ruins, and they're doing more damage than the elements ever could. Would you mind getting your waders on and take care of things?
See you soon.
You remember the worst escort quest in the entire frickin' game? That's probably an exaggeration, but I remember this escort quest extremely badly. Are you again? Zadreed, have we met? Only in the past. Listen here, who's your name? I documented the whole thing in my journal the day of the title of it, and I know just where to find it. The journal, not the find. Help me get the one so we can get the other, or vice versa. Do you follow? Follow me!
Be good. No. Safe travel.
Underneath Rim Travel's forgetful exterior is the mind of a genius, an enigma cloaked in senility.
Keep your
But I'm
feet
not
on the
about
ground.
to... Hang on. I'm not about to give up on the old man. Look what I found in his notes. No, not there. That's a shopping list. Here, on the page where he's trying to figure out what year it is. The disc! We think this Titan artifact is some sort of encrypted storage wheel. We were carefully unearthing it when the disaster hit, but hopefully it's still in the ruins. Dive in there and grab it for me, would you? Sure, sure. Yeah, if anybody is an evoker of any type, it's Yazael. Good afternoon. The ruins you see there are identical to ones I dug up a few months ago, but they're flooded. Curious, huh? Yeah, that's very strange. Zero is a paladin, so I'm with that. If you know what I mean. Yeah, Gosetsu's a bit easy. I agree completely. And yeah, Hien is just a Death Knight. A very boring Death Knight, but he's still a Death Knight. Yeah, Outlaw Rogue. Like, you'd think he's a Subtlety Rogue, but really, no, his kit suits Outlaw better. Which is funny, because he literally plays a friggin' tank. Yeah, Hien's the best character in the game. Obviously, there's no... I don't know why anybody would ever dislike Hien as a character. That's insanity and nonsense, if you ask me. Oh yeah, Yugiri is definitely the subtlety one. I'm trying to think what other characters there are. Other than, like, you know, characters that are a bit above and beyond these kind of classifications. Lise? That's actually an interesting one. Let me think about that. Oh yeah, Wook Lamont is definitely Arms Warrior, 100%. That's almost one-to-one. I don't know. Lise feels like a weird pick for Monk. I'm still torn on that. Ah, we're almost there. Who's your face? The camp where I left my notes is just around the corner. Where do you think this guy is leading us with his escort quest? Because we're going to find where his notes are. That's what this escort quest is, right? Ooh, Redditon. You know what? Yeah, I feel that. Once again, martial-focused faith wielder, but far more focused on, you know, retribution, on doing damage. 3 hammers. We look at that. More ruins. Dude, we've been doing nothing but circling the same... Okay. Yes, that's right. He was leading us back to the thing he was sitting on. The ruins I found are identical to the ones I left. It's the find of a lifetime!
Great to meet you. See you soon.
Ah, you helped the prospector find his missing shuttle. To think it was here all along. Someday you'll have to show me this other set of ruins he's always going on about.
Keep your feet on the
I
ground.
just... I'm telling you, we need those, racial... The class cosmetic packs, right? Like, imagine playing a paladin, like you say, which is unarmed. I was debating Xenos. Xenos, actually, this kind of sounds weird. Xenos is a whole lot like a dark shaman. Just gonna grab this really quick, don't mind me. Yeah, I guess it also depends on which Xenos. But yes, enhancement shamans are right up there in the front. Usually with maces. And, I think axes is the other one. I am specifically thinking of the Reaper, though.
How are you?
Bravo, let's take a look at our new situation. What? Wait, more murlocs? I swear to be stones, the more murlocs you kill, the more they appear. Or is it just me? We're gonna need a new approach.
Safe travels.
We can figure this out. We just need some dwarven ingenuity. Think. These murlocs are looking for a home, right? Let's do something constructive. I mean that literally. All sorts of debris washed ashore during the catastrophe, and some of the decimated murloc hovels may still be salvageable. Run along the shore here, get up any building materials fit for a murloc. It's an admittedly low standard.
See you soon. Well met.
Did you find it? Graf wants to be clear of these ruins as soon as possible.
Be good.
Oh, spectacular. Good work. Charimtera would thank you if you could remember your name. Look at the surface of the disc, the microscopic etchings. These things are amazing. I'm certain the strange heel holds information. If only we could read it.
See you soon.
Now that we got it, a lot of our earlier finds are starting to make sense. Shortly after my arrival, Prospector Rimtrell unearthed what he presumed to be a prehistoric toaster. It's my belief this slotted box is some sort of data reader. Unfortunately, it broke apart and washed away with the rest of our camp. We can't have gone far. Pieces of it are buried here. Use my trusty buried artifact detector.
Be good.
You have a buried artifact detector? How does that even work? Anyways. Listen, no one would ever play a survival hunter. Except me, because I like survival hunter. But no one else would ever play a survival hunter. That survival was so good on Legion. Anyways. It's just beep beep. Beep beep. I have to actually use this stupid thing. There we go. Yeah, only crazy people would actually like Survival Hunter. It's kind of like Ranger. Well, that's not true. That's not true. Rangers are terrible. In fact, I look forward to playing one in Baldur's Gate 3 at some point, just to see if it is exactly as terrible as it always is.
Great to meet you.
To assemble all the pieces of the slotted device. Made to remove the Prospect Rim Travel sandwich from the ancient data interface.
Safe
This
travels.
is it. See here, the slot is the exact dimensions of the disk, just as I surmised. Here's your reward yonder. He appends the device and pours mud and garbage from the slot. You ready to make history? Let's see what the ancients have to say.
Keep your feet on the ground.
Let's see what this artifact tells us. I know it. It's calling up a message. Kill it. Diagnostic. Diagnostic. Fail. Mother? The site has been compromised. The aspects must be alerted. Huh. Listen. Prospector Rem Travel's done it again. We'll see if Iron Porridge can make any sense of this.
What can I do for you?
Wet enough for you?
Safe travels.
Not much here that don't look stepped on, sat on, or soaked in a toilet, but toss some thatch on top, it'll do. Tell me, do you consider yourself an architect?
Keep your feet on the ground.
Can we build it? Yes, we can. Just west of the dig site, I planted a banner. The sand is firm, and it's a good site to say. Take me tools and the parts you collected. And build these ornery pests a different place to live.
Be good.
Here you go. You're welcome. Come on, dance. Dance. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Oh, there's one dancing. No! Him. What's the one positive, Dantos? Or I guess one upside.
How are you?
How'd our new seaside condo?
See you soon.
That sounds like quite a heap you built there. Did they take to it? Good, good. He watches as scores of murlocs stream down the beach, pouring from the hovel from all corners of the compass. Gradually his brows knit together. Oh, what have I done?
Keep your feet on the ground.
It's fine. You've just doomed us all to a murloc apocalypse. Let's switch over there. What else did I use last time? I'm almost positive I got New Moon and Convoke. So let's go left this time. You know, not that I'm aware of in 36. Okay. Almost ready to finish the zone. Holy crap. This is a long zone. I forget how long Darkshore really is. We've gotten like 10 levels here? Something like that. Well, yeah, like, again, the source of the magic can vary, but a Frostbolt is a Frostbolt, right? Technically, a Warlock could cast a Frostbolt.
Hello.
The dwarf story is unsettling yet informative. It seems we have a few options left. You thought about playing this or FF14? Which do I recommend? Okay. Both games have a free trial. If you start up WoW fresh, it'll dump you into the Exile's Reach, and you can play around with it a bit. It's very handholdy as a tutorial, but it is a tutorial. If by the time you've finished Exile's Reach you don't like you don't like it, you're probably good to go ahead and bow out. In FF14, there is also a free trial, a much, 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 much longer one, which goes to the first 3 expansions. In that case, I would recommend you go roll a monk or an arcanist, one of the two. Play it for a day or two. And by that point, you'll probably know which one of those two you actually prefer.
Good luck, friend.
Pugilist. I mean, monk. Pugilist or Arcanist. Hate all of you. We may not have 20 stone giants to take on our enemy, but we giants of ancient lumber are strong as any rock. Look around you, Night Elf. My kindred sleep, yet they heed the Keeper's horn when time is upon them. You will find Eros, the Keeper of the Grove, beyond the bridge northeast of here. Tell him the urgency of our situation. Pugilist actually is a real word. It means someone who fights with their fists. Alright, so here's the Keeper of the... he's, very dead. The creature appears to have had its skull broken in the fight with Eros. It looks like what you've heard described as a Naga before. It is said that despite their monstrous features, the Naga are night elves, warped by the arcane magic of Queen Ashara. It seems they've decided to stop you from obtaining the Horn of the Ancients. Interesting. But yeah, to use the distinction, Monk is usually an unarmed fighter who is weaving magic of some sort or another in the action of doing so. Like ki, or mists, or shamanistic power, or whatever. That's a monk. A pugilist has no magic. They just punch things. It's the difference between, say, Sabin and Tifa. Or Sabin and Zell. Or Sabin and Yang. Or Sabin... sorry.
I am honored.
The Naga are in league with the Twilight Hammer. That's just what we needed.
Goddess, watch over you.
The Naga want to throw their lot in with the Twilight's Hammer, then may Alun have mercy on them. Go to their lair, the island of Najvel, and find their leader. And then kill
Till
him.
next we meet, how may I help?
Or Sabin and Ferris for a few minutes. See you around, Mr. Red. Get some good rest. We cannot let the Naga get away with this, Adreed. Slaying the Keeper of the Grove amounts to a declaration of war. You'll find their den inside the island of Najvel. I want you to send a clear message.
Be careful.
I can do that. I'm pretty sure Sabin and Chen would both enjoy a good fight. And then, like, stop and have, like, a really nice drink afterwards. Like, they would be really good friends. I can just tell. I can just feel that, you know. Yeah, Chen's just, he's kind of legit. Not to try and convince anyone to play FF14, but did you know it has a really nice, like, demo version? The way the demo works is you're obviously limited on certain things, like you always are. But for the most part, you can just play the game. All the way up to, I believe, Shadowbringers? Someone check me on that. In WoW terms, imagine if imagine if you could just play WoW through BC, Wrath, up to the end of Stormblood. Okay, so BC, Wrath, and Kata, then, for example. And that's for free, those 3 expansions. In WoW's case, it's level locked. So in WoW's case, you're locked at level 20. And trust me, you'll hit level 20 pretty quickly. You can keep playing. It's just, you're not going to keep going past level 20. Yes, Yura? I can't tell if you're trolling or not. For those of you not aware, the way it works is if you decide to unsubscribe, you don't actually lose your account or even access to your account, or even the ability to log in. It's just devolved back to being a trial account. So you can't access your high-level characters, but you can still make a brand new character. You can still get up to 20. Ox do not include as more difficult than Factorio? I would say Oxygen Not Included has a higher skill floor, but a lower skill ceiling than Factorio. The precise and minute min-max optimization that Factorio practices is fantastic. And Oxygen Not Included also tends to reward the player for cheating the game. Cheating the system. Yeah, they've been slowly improving the trial in WoW over the years. I would agree with that as well. 36. Most people I know can sit down and figure out Factorio just from playing it. Oh, look, it's an offering to Ashara. I should probably stop the... Oh, God. Oh, God. Listen, I'm not... I don't want to kill y'all. I'm going to do Naga slime. Ugh. Huh. She uses the old model. Who dares oppose Queen Ashara? You will soon beg for swift death. It's over, Ashara. You and your Naga will return to the bottom of the seas where you belong. Malfurion storm raged. I hope to keep you occupied a little while longer. It was my goal to keep you away from Hyjal while my allies attacked. It would seem I have succeeded. I have no need to fight you, for it appears I've already won. You cannot stop an attack on Darkshore and save Hyjal at the same time. She's not lying. Nordrassil's in danger. I must make haste and prepare for Hyjal's defense. We'll see you in probably about a week and a half when we get to Hyjal.
Greetings, friend.
Because that's a ways from now.
May the winds be at your back.
The ancients of the Grove have come to our aid. I can see through their eyes, even as I speak. The Twilight Hammer has been forced to hasten their ritual, and thus have only managed to resurrect a remnant of Soggoth. Destroy it before it's too late. I am needed elsewhere.
Nature stands with you.
Okay. Pop that on real quick. Yeah, Ashara just randomly showing up here is kind of eyebrow-raising. And it's probably one of the only story beats in Darkshore that just doesn't land for me. It's like, what? Just casually, yeah, no, here's, you know, Ashara. The Queen of the Naga. One of the main villains of the entire franchise, just hanging out in Darkshore to distract Malfurion. So that, you know, the Twilight's Hammer can succeed in Hyjal? What? Yeah, we will be seeing from her again. 4 expansions from now. Probably, Magister. I mean, it's not completely out of bounds, Villagers know, but it is weird, and it really does come out of nowhere, and frankly, goes nowhere. Other than the fact that this is a spoiler, or not spoiler, a foreshadowing for Hyjal, this really serves no real point or purpose.
Greetings.
We can finally rest now. It appears Darkshore has been saved. What do we owe you to have you to thank for it? Well done. The Naga seek the destruction and subjugation of all surface dwellers, including nieces who steal my bed. Fortunately, no one would ever do that around here. Ah! Unfortunately, someone has done that around here.
Elune be with you. Goddess, watch over you. What brings you here?
Okay, good news is we're done with Darkshore. Woo! So... I feel like part of Darkshore's problem is it's trying to be so many different stories all at the same time. But I did enjoy what's here. And I like the flow of it, too. Like, if you pay attention, you start up here. First thing you do is you do the stuff with Aberdeen. That leads very naturally up here to the Shatterspear. Once you complete that, it pushes you further south to Malfurion, figure out what's going on with him. Notice there's vector quests everywhere to constantly push you to the next little hub. After we deal with Malfurion stuff, we go deal with the Grove of the Ancients, where we are now, which leads us to the Twilight Hammer, and then dealing with their not shenanigans, and then the Dwarves, and then back to the Twilight Hammer, and then the Naga. Like, it's a fairly smooth north to south kind of a vibe, which makes sense, because the very next thing we're going to be doing is Ashenvale on this character. Yeah, there's some kind of choices here. I do think it's a better zone overall than New Teldrassil, for example. Hey, Reckersbeard, congratulations. I am literally about to cut off. I think you're doing it on purpose at this point. That's okay, I don't blame you. Yeah, Teldrassil it wasn't bad, but it was just... I don't know, I think I'll have to chew on this because I am being called away to dinner. So, tomorrow is Durotar. And obviously Durotar's not going to be super long, so we'll probably also knock out Ashara tomorrow. Or I could do Ashara first and then do Durotar. I'll chew on it. Either way, we're doing those two zones tomorrow. So, I'll see you guys.